Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you hear me? Turn me up in the headphones. Look, black women in church trying to sing away their problems, paying tithes to a pastor, molest your children and rob you. He ain't concerned with the condition and black people problems. Send some prayers up to the Lord, shake loose all their pockets. And to add to the stress, shit, we all divided. He got caught up in the trap, he could've went to college. Selling box ain't your only option. How you single with 4 kids with a rainbow flag in your bio? He got caught up, came home with a drug problem. You get famous off of murder. Niggas love sliding, city filled with gun violence. Everybody got switches. Religious grandchildren is doing most of the killing. I don't consider this living. We in hell. Gave my nigga life, I heard him crying in his cell. Uncle sneaking in her room, but she afraid to tell. How you expect to get justice? She blind holding scales. Yeah, all the wrong shit make you real. You ain't focused on oppression when you just trying to live. I've been in the fields just like Pop Warner. See my brother catch a body, we was sophomores. Devil buying a strong man and put the locks on him. Now the family all destroyed, son got stock on them. I ain't mad, just a warrior for the wrong cause. How your ops look like you in the wrong war. For real, yeah.
All right, clap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Welcome again to another breakdown podcast. You understand? Shalom, Cap.
Shalom, warrior.
Yeah, man.
Good day. Yeah, we have something good for them tonight, man.
Kind of one can, sir. You know what I mean? Some devil have to be giving him opinion on, you know what I mean, our reparations situation, but we'll get into that. But first, we'll just give them the intro, sir. You know what I mean? First, let me say, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, you know what I mean? This is the Breakdown Cap podcast where we break down the strongholds that hold back the children of Israel here in the Caribbean, North, Central, and South America. You understand? Yeah, man. So,
yeah.
You want to jump straight into it? Or you want to give them some, I mean, give them an intro to it?
We could jump into it, but let's do a intro from Baruch. Let's get Baruch 4 and 6.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 6, and it says, Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. But
not for your what?
Not for your destruction.
Not for your destruction. All right? One thing you got to keep in mind. You were sold to the nation, not for your destruction.
Right.
And how do you know how do you know black people, you know what I mean, Hispanics and First Nation people are destroyed? We don't know where we come from. We don't even know what's our nationality. We don't. Right? We don't even know that we are God's chosen people.
Right.
That's who we are. Right? But the Bible is saying what? You were what?
You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because he moved God to wrath.
Right? Because we moved God to wrath. You understand? We were supposed to do our time in slavery. You understand? Just like what we did where? In Egypt. In Egypt, we did with time.
Right.
Pharaoh tell us to go make, you know what I mean, bricks without straw. We did our time in Egypt. But we know who we were in Egypt. We know we were the Israelites. Right? We know we were the Hebrew Israelites in Egypt. The difference is in this captivity, which the Bible calls this captivity, right? Sodom and Egypt, spiritually Egypt, right? we don't even know who we are. They're stripped of our culture. We are stripped of our name. Right? And this is because we moved the God to Ra. You think eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster is a small thing to the Lord. That's not a small thing to the Lord. That's very big.
Right.
And he gets angry. Just like me and you get angry. You know what I mean? If we have kids and we tell the kids, I need you home by this time. I need you to do this. Sure. You give your children commandments. You command them to do certain things. If they don't do it, you are going to get angry.
Right.
And that's the Lord. Right? And now, Lord, on a bigger scale, you move him to wrath. Guess what he's going to do? Read.
Can. He were delivered unto the enemies.
And that you move the Lord to wrath, and now we under oppression. You understand?
Right.
And listen to what one of the enemies is going to say. I need you to listen very clearly. Listen to what your enemy is going to say. And what black people are going to have to start to do, we're going to have to start to wake up and realize this whole entire earth been against black people, Hispanic and First Nation people. This whole entire earth. You think you were free. Remember, freedom can't be given to you. Freedom is something that has to be taken.
That's right.
When we were free from Egypt, guess what? What happened to Egypt?
Egypt got destroyed.
Yeah, simple. When America got free from Britain, guess what? Britain, there was no more Britain in where? In America. Yeah, you understand? Like, you can't expect your captor to give you freedom. If he give you freedom, it's an illusion. What he gave you was an illusion. Come on.
So like you, sir, and just to add to your point, like what you said, right after America fought for them freedom from the British were no longer this great empire anymore. You understand? They were great because they had other people under them. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with our oppressors. Them only great because them have we. You know what I mean? But once we get free from them, then you will see that them is really nothing. Slack you.
That's right. Correct. And now let's jump in to what this oppressor is going to basically say about his people take on slavery. All right. Let's add him to the stage since he won the limelight, and we're going to hit the play button. Now listen to this good. Black people, Hispanic, and First Nation.
Already ripped down a portrait of Margaret Thatcher at number 10 Downing Street. Can't bear to see the old Tory leader hovering over him. He's now taking down a portrait of the 19th century Liberal leader, Gladstone, William Gladstone, and also Queen Elizabeth III, and also the explorer Sir Walter Raleigh. Apparently, they all had links to slavery. Gladstone's links to slavery was his dad had plantations on which slave workers toiled. That's not exactly Gladstone's fault, is it? But he's getting torn down from Downing Street because Keir doesn't want to be seen anywhere near anyone who even knew what the word slave meant. It's just ridiculous. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Now, before we get to that, though, taking your...
All right, and now, see how the oppressor he thinks? He doesn't care about how you feel about anything. Right? He doesn't care how you feel about anything. He wants his history. He wants to remember his history, even if it caused you pain.
Right.
You understand? Even if it caused you pain, he wants to see his history. Ain't no problem. We'll play on.
Calls, by the way, at 8:30. So get on the phone. Let me know what you think about a lot of these issues, particularly the migrant crisis. This government is secretly seeking to do a deal with a contractor for more than £500 million in order to place and to deal with migrants that come across the channel for the next 10 years, at least 10 years. This is the government said it was going to World Heads of Government meeting, a kind of annual event. And at this event, the Caribbean is guilt-ridden about the empire. You can see the way he is, like what he did with the Chagos Islands. You wonder, the government says it won't be paying this.
Is it slowing now?
Might start handing money to these nations that demand reparations. I say, absolutely not. Don't be ridiculous. No one alive, no one living is responsible for the slavery that the Caribbean nations suffered. So why should we pay for something we didn't do? I think we should say to these nations, no ifs, no buts. Stop asking us for reparations for something that we knew nothing about that happened before we were alive, because we're not going to pay you. Let's talk to...
And that's so good too, in a way where, I mean, you go in the Bible, right? As you see, we're going to go into the Bible and show you, I mean, what the Lord has to say about, I mean, the sins of the father, right? Like, he put it in there because he knew these oppressors will think like this. He knew it. You understand? So he had to put it in the book, in that Bible, to let us know that this is how he would think. You understand? Where you holding there?
Gun. We have Zechariah 11:5.
We could go with that one.
Gun, sir. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
You understand? Now, you might say, well, it ain't me. It wasn't me.
Right.
It was my great-great-great-granduncle that had nothing to do with me. Right? Because you hold yourself not guilty for what your forefathers did. But yet and still, I am in this situation as a product of what happened to my forefathers.
Right.
You understand? Jamaica. What about Haiti? Haiti in that situation. Why? Because of present Haiti? No, because of what happened in the past. Why don't forget or forgive Haiti? Right? And get them back all the money. We know why. Because for you to be rich, black people need to be poor. You understand?
Right.
Right? Read on.
Gun. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich.
Right. And that's your so Walter Raleigh. That's your Queen Elizabeth III.
Right.
And Gladstone. Right? So they go make all this money, get ton of wealth. Now, if I had to ask a question, was the wealth passed down, or did the wealth just stop right there? You understand what I'm asking?
Gun, sir.
Their wealth stopped right there. Meaning, when Sir Gladstone died, did they bury the money with him? When Queen Elizabeth died, the third, did they bury the money with her? No. Same thing with Sir Walter Raleigh. No, those things were inherited. So if you inherit money, if you inherit slave money, then why not inherit? You understand? Inherit the justice from your forefathers.
Right.
Why not? because we inherit whatever happened to us our forefathers in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We inherit it. You think it's by chance your country is more wealthy than these Caribbean countries? You think it's by chance? It ain't by chance.
Right.
Slavery was an economic, how to put it, to the oppressor, a masterpiece in economics. Why? Because it made them rich. It made them rich. It made England rich.
Right.
It made them rich beyond belief. They say the sun couldn't set under English Empire. There was so much money coming into that country. All right. That was it on the scripture.
Last, sir.
Just finish it off there now.
Can. For I Salakia. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
Yeah. No, that's going into your black leaders. You understand?
Right.
That's going into your black leaders. Meaning now they're siding with your oppressors. Siding with them.
Right.
You know, because there are black people who will come out and say, nah, you don't deserve any reparations. You know what I mean? We're all equal. We this, we that, we that.
And Salakia, sir, you had some people in the comments saying that. Some black people in the comments saying, you know what I mean, why do we need reparations from them? You know what I mean? Or why do they need to pay reparations? So, like what you say, sir, you hit the nail on the head. You have people of us who think that we are certainly our black leaders, you know what I mean? Them think that them believe that we should be happy that, you know what I mean, we are able to work as slavery today and survive. Slavery is over according to them, and we should be happy. You understand? When
Yes.
you know what I mean, they have not paid for them crimes of slavery. Slakia.
That's it. Let's talk about that. If you want to talk about reparations, let's talk about paying for your crimes.
Right.
Let's at least talk about that. You know what I mean? You can't tell a victim that they shouldn't cry for for justice. They shouldn't cry out for justice for what happened to them. You can't do that to a victim.
Right.
Can you imagine a victim going in front of a judge and the judge tell that victim, well, that happened in the past. Don't worry about that. You're going to have to move on. You can't blame, you know what I mean, him and give a ton of excuse for the perpetrator, for the criminal. If you're a criminal, you are a criminal.
Right.
Right? If you inherit something from a criminal, then the right thing would be to do what? So that you don't be seen as a criminal would be what? To give back what the criminal stole.
Can.
That'd be the right thing. If you're trying to be just.
Right.
Right? Let's play a little more of this here now. Because our next one coming in, and I mean, they're gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be, you know what I mean, Esau at his finest.
Author and sociologist Frank Furedi. Hello, Frank.
How are you?
I'm very well. What are your feelings about this? I mean, Caribbean nations, or lots of nations around the world, continue to demand reparations for slavery. There are two things about this. First of all, Britain is the country responsible for the abolition of slavery. We set the ball rolling, something like, I think, if I'm trying to remember, 30, 40 years before America got on board. And secondly, I just think it's insane to expect so it's a nation like Britain and other Western nations to hand over money for a punishment for something that none of us are responsible, that no one living is responsible for. That strikes me as not logical. It strikes me as kind of insane. So I'm saying it's time to tell these.
And you're gonna listen to all of this, right? And you will not hear for once they see or any one of them said that justice was given to those slaves.
Right.
None of them is going to say that. None of them is going to infer that these slaves back then were given justice. So why are you coming to ask for reparations right now? If you want to have an argument or debate, let's have it. But no, don't come up here on, on a platform and then make it look as if Britain is this, is this beacon of
something.
Yes, of abolishing slavery.
Right.
When we all know, not we all know, but more and more black people start to wake up to the truth. When black people eyes start to open, they're going to recognize that this whole abolition of slavery was them just transforming it or evolving it into what? What they evolve it into? Slavery. So now they take the chain off your neck. You take the shackles off your feet and your hand. But where is it now?
It's on your mind.
Mind, give me a little more. A little more than your mind. It's in the economics. So now, £1 is equal to 122 Jamaican dollars. And Jamaica is in debt.
So like yes, sir, close to 200, I think. Close to 200.
Worse. So now, even though you are free, you're still what? Your nation is still what? A slave to the British Empire. All right? You're still a slave. That's why I'm telling you, this whole thing with this whole freedom, those things were illusion.
Right.
And the faster you recognize that you're still in slavery, the more you fight the right way to try and get your people out of it.
Right.
You understand? But if you continue living in this illusion and thinking, well, I have a good job, I'm making a good bit of money, life is nice, right? Then you will continue to be a slave as a nation. Then don't cry for reparation, because this is an animal. These people are animals. They call us animals, but you listen to their arguments and you like, yo, where did they crawl out? What rock did they crawl out from behind? Are they serious? You know, it is if their people was in captivity and nothing was done to give them justice, what will happen? We'll still be fighting wars right now.
And so like, yes, sir, if I may, to touch on the point that you made earlier, a while ago, sir, where you said, because we have a, we in a job, we feel like we're in slavery. You understand? We need to realize that we are in slavery. These oppressors, they are counting, everything that, every, way they call it now, every privilege that them think them give us, they are counting it as them, paying us back, Notice where this heathen said, sir. Him say, I don't know if you play it already in this video, but watch and I'd have a couple of videos with him, and he said that look at how much humanitarian aid Britain give to these Caribbean countries.
Yeah.
See? So he's taking note of all the help that Britain, quote unquote, give to the poor Commonwealth countries, you know, and he said that is payment for slavery. So why are you asking for reparation? You understand? Mm-hmm. So we should realize that, look, these heathens are counting every drop of benefit that them think them give us, you know. Them look upon it like privilege. You understand? You're no longer in chains. You're able to work a 9 to 5, which is basically unlivable. You understand? But you should be happy for it. Why you want more? Which is, like I said, sir, further proof that we are slaves. You understand? Slack yes.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Lord will, as black people start waking up, we're gonna recognize. We're gonna recognize that these oppressors, they never cared about us, and they're never going to care about us. They care about themselves and their people, which I have no problem with. You know what I mean? Your oppressor, you should care for your oppressor babies. You understand? You should do that. But when Christ returns, I don't want to hear you crying.
Right.
I will spitting that same lingo, that same type of language, that same type of speech. Right? I will spitting that. Right? Let's play a little more.
Caribbean nations, stop asking us for this because it's nonsensical and we will never pay you.
Well, you know,
no. While they're playing KR1, look up and see if the slave owners got reparation.
Gun.
While I play some more, once again, just let me know.
well, I think it's a bit of a hustle. You know, it's a kind of a case of it's basically sort of getting the head to go around and basically hustling for money. But it seems to me that what is really horrible here is that for over a couple of decades, they've been trying to make people in Britain and other Western nations feel guilty for something that their ancestors centuries ago might have done. And there seems to be this idea that it doesn't matter that there's been a different era, that the centuries have gone by. You and I and anybody else are no less responsible for what happened 300 years ago.
Now, recognize this, right? Also, too. He is saying basically that his forefathers, they did it in the past, right? And we shouldn't want to we shouldn't, you know what I mean, we should leave it basically in the past, right? But yet and still he has statues of them. You understand? Yet and still you have statues of them. If you have statues of them, which means what? If you have a statue of someone, you mean what? That this person here
is respected.
We all should be like.
Gun.
You understand? He did something for the culture. Right? He did something for the culture. How you gonna want us to forget about what happened in the past, but you remember Sir Walter Raleigh, you remember Queen Elizabeth, you're remembering Gladstone, you're remembering these men and these women who championed Britain's cause, who built Britain on slave trade, on sugar cane, and cotton, and tobacco. You built that country on that. But you won't forget your people. Come on.
So like, yes, sir. May I have the answer to the question you asked a while ago, sir.
Come on.
You asked if the slave owners got, you know what I mean, reparations for freeing them slaves. And the answer is yes, sir. You know what I mean? Both in the Caribbean, both the British Empire and the American slave owners. This says, yes, slave owners in the Caribbean receive compensation when slavery was abolished. The British Empire compensated slave owners in the Caribbean when it began to abolish slavery in the 1800s. The British government paid off the debt incurred to compensate slave owners in 2015.
What?
Can.
Wait. So you telling me the last amount of money that was paid off to slave owners was in 2015?
Can, sir.
So they have the records. So they have the records. So they have who this reparation should be going to. These bastards.
Right.
Listen to what this guy is going to say. I'll put it back a little more right here. All right? Let's play.
Really horrible here is that for over a couple of decades, they've been trying to make people in Britain and other Western nations feel guilty for something that their ancestors centuries ago might have done. And there seems to be this idea that it doesn't matter that there's been a different era, that the centuries have gone by. You and I and anybody else are no less responsible for what happened 300 years ago than the people who lived at that time. And I think it's a case that having guilt-tripped Britain about being like the source of global racism and having invented this idea that somehow we are inherently responsible for all the bad things that are still going on in the Caribbean, there seems to be this victim narrative that basically means that they can demand a blank check, not just now, but forever. Because should any government be stupid enough to give even a dime, even 10 pence for this cause, then they'll be back tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for decades to come, arguing that the problem is still there, we're still traumatized, we still haven't overcome the impact that slavery has had on us, and therefore you have got to have an obligation to provide us with more money. And if Britain goes in and accepts this kind of hustle and becomes complicit in perpetuating it, then it's going to be not only...
You see what he call it? He call it a what? A hustle.
Can.
Need to turn on location services for that. Want to turn it on?
Right? He called it
Something
a
wrong.
hustle.
Please try again.
Lucky. That bastard called it a hustle, boy. All right, but the slave owners getting reparation is not a hustle.
Right.
All right, you're paying out money to up to 2015. So the more and more years pass by with all these arguments that being brought forth about slavery. Guess what they're going to say? What do you think they're going to say? What do you think they're going to lean on? The argument they're going to lean on? Let me see. Let me see if I have it right here. All right. So, I mean, when you look it up, right? I'm going to read a little something on the internet right here. But people could go look it up and just see what's the reason why. I mean, these oppressors, you know what I mean? The talking points of these oppressors. Now, remember, they made this video when, well, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? They did this interview, right? But listen to what I'm going to read here and see if it'll sound like what is coming out their mouth. Our descendants of enslaved people in the United States are not currently given reparations, just like anywhere in England. England is not giving the Caribbean any type of reparation, right? For slavery due to complex mixed reasons, including the difficulty in determining who is eligible, right? So they don't know who should get the money. But England know up to 2015 who was supposed to get the money. Do you telling me they keep all the records on these slave owners? So are you paying dead men?
Right.
In 2015, are you paying dead men?
Of course not. Them paying them
You're paying
families.
dead man. You paying the family.
Kind of one cancer.
And the family gain compensation. So which means what? Yeah, they should pay for the crimes of their father.
Right. Kind of one can.
If you collecting money on an evil that your father did in the past, unless you're saying it's not an evil, unless you're saying that was just business, because that's what it looked like from what K1 was reading. Right, K1? It seems as if it was just business.
Right.
That's what it seemed like. There's just business we're talking about here. You understand? But black people, somehow, we playing the victim role, or are we really victims? We playing it, we acting, or are we really victims? You know, like how you have like how you'll have a movie that come out, and you have people who acting. You understand, for the victim of some crime? Like, are we acting, or are we really victims in real life, flesh and blood? It's ridiculous. Now, leave him on the screen. Leave this. And he's some author and some sociologist. So he knows, you know what I mean? He understands fully what's coming out his mouth. Right? Let's say, the difficulty in determining who is eligible, the immense financial cost. I think that's it, K1. The immense financial cost, because I think they said something like 19 trillion England will have to pay off, right? Political opposition from those who argued that no one alive today is responsible for what? Slavery. And I think that's their talking point. No one alive today is responsible for slavery. That's why he's saying what? That happened in the past. You're trying to take us down. You're trying to make us feel guilty for what our forefathers did. Yes, you should feel guilty.
Right.
You are babies of oppressors. You are babies of colonialists. You understand? And concern about further dividing the country along racial lines. Right? Because they know what's going to happen after they don't pay off 19 trillion. That's going to make what? That might make some English people poor. Understand? When if you have the documentation on who owns slaves, why not let them pay the reparation back? Why not? Black people have been starting from scratch, right? You understand what I mean? Starting from scratch, right? Meaning, when we come into this world, we are not given a handout.
Right.
We have to do what? Come out into this world. You understand? Eat what mommy and daddy had there for us. Go to school, right? Get a degree, and then start doing what? Trying to build some wealth.
Against all odds.
Yeah. We are victims in this place to your oppression. You understand? You go into school, and to show you how much we're victims, you are going to school, but you are not learning about your forefathers. You're not reading the books your forefathers left behind.
Right.
You're not learning the history they left behind. You're learning the history from the oppressor. We're victims. You think these Englishmen, these men from Britain, will let our people tell their history or teach their people their history.
Blah.
No, they are free men. They are free men. And free men decide what their people are going to learn, what their culture is going to be. They decide on their culture. They decide on their people. Enslaved people don't decide anything. They give them an illusion, like democracy. You understand? Like being a republic. You're given an illusion. England run Jamaica. America run Jamaica. And all the other Caribbean countries. That's why if you need money, who you gonna go to? The IMF. Who owns the IMF? America.
Gun.
You just pass from one slave master or one oppressor to another. Right? You ever hear somebody like these banks do it, right? Where another bank buys out another bank debt and take it. Right? That's America. America bought over England debt, and now you pay America.
No, so we belong to America. Gun.
Yeah. And now your boy here sitting down, what's his name? Frank here sitting down and telling you that you should be begging for a handout. You're hustling. Let's play a little more. Let's see what Frank got to say. All right, let's see what Frank got to say, man.
Bad for Britain, for the taxpayers. It's going to be bad for the people of the Caribbean, who will learn to become addicted to free handouts from Western nations into the indefinite future. So all around, this is a really bad idea.
And there he goes again, saying we're going to get addicted to free handouts. When your forefathers were addicted for over 300 years of getting free handout. And still today.
Salakia, sir. Slavery by itself was an handout to them because they didn't work for what they accumulated in slavery. You understand? That in itself was a handout. The reparations that they got because they give up them slaves was a handout. You know what I mean? We never get no handout. Coming straight out of slavery, them never give a land, nothing at all. We were like homeless people coming out of slavery. So we don't get no handout. Like you say, Cap, we started from scratch. So what wrong with them starting from scratch?
Yeah.
So that
And that's the problem with black leaders. They don't understand. It's either they don't understand, right? Or they do understand it, right? But this is what I do know they don't understand. That this oppressor, he is not human. He don't think like that.
Right.
He do not think like that. That's like a lion, you know what I mean, thinking about this day he's feasting on and wondering, you know what I mean, did I just unalive a mother? That lion is not thinking about that.
Right.
He don't care about this female dear kid. You understand?
That's in food.
Yeah, that's him. That's his food. And when he finished with the mother, he's going to gobble up children too. He don't care. So, you know what I mean? That's how they behave. They don't care. As long as it's not them, they do not care.
Right.
They don't. Because any person, any human in the right mind understand what justice is. They understand what justice is. They fully understand what justice is. Right? Let's play a little more.
Okay.
You said earlier that you think that these Caribbean nations and indeed other national leaders calling for reparations on slavery, they're basically hustling on the off chance they might get some money. As I say, what I'd like Britain to turn around, and they'll never do it because of today's sensibilities. I'd like us to turn around and say, listen, you can say this as much as you like. We will never, ever pay you because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to tell them that, you can't guilt trip us forever. Not everyone's going to be taken in by this. We have a very good track record of dealing with problems from the past. 21st century British people have got nothing to do with slavery, any more than 21st century British people have got to do with the slavery in ancient Egypt or in ancient Greece. For 4,000 years, there's evidence of slavery in almost every society.
What did he just do?
Look, yeah.
God, boy.
If I may, sir, if him did not pay attention to ancient Egypt, he would have known that you have to pay for your crimes of slavery. You understand? Because the Egyptians them paid for them crimes. You understand? So look,
yeah. But he's trying to use that as an excuse.
Right?
He's talking about physical payment.
Yeah,
understand? He's not talking about where's Egypt right now. He's not talking about that type of payment. He's talking about Egypt did not pay their slaves. You understand? Greece did not pay their slave. These different empires did not pay their slaves after they got free. You understand? But what he's not telling you is the process of these superpowers losing their power. Once we left out of their captivity,
they were no more
power. Yeah.
Right?
Which lets you know that we still in slavery because why? Why?
Them still in power.
That's it. They in power. So we still in slavery.
Sir.
Right? And the reason why they ain't paying us is because what? The reparation is because what? We are still in captivity. Ain't no way they're going to give you money. You understand? You are going to have to get a military, and you are going to have to get your money like that. And that's when Christ returned. When Christ returned with them 200 million angels, they are going to have to pay. They're going to have to pay for what their forefathers did. Give me Isaiah 14 and 22.
You want me to read 21 too as well, sir?
Yeah, read 21. Because, Frank, I don't think Frank understands what he's talking about. Frank and them living in a, what you call a oppressor's world. His world is totally different from our world. He doesn't understand. You know what I mean? You go talk to Frank. Frank does not read the Bible. He don't believe in the Bible. Because if he did, he will understand this. And he will have to take what? He will have to take responsibility for what his forefathers did. And he would have to say slavery was wrong. That ain't coming out Frank's mouth. Frank is not saying what our forefathers did was wrong. He is giving you an excuse that everybody else did it. Everybody else did it. It was okay. No sweat. Well, listen to what the Lord had to say now.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 21. And it says, prepare slaughter for his children.
For his
children.
For his children. Right? Remember, Frank is the child of a former slave master. I'm gonna say Frank, meaning I'm talking about his people on the whole. Right? I'm talking about what's his name? William Gladstone. I'm talking about Queen Elizabeth III. I'm talking about Sir Walter Raleigh. Right? They had children. So the Bible is saying, prepare slaughter for who?
For his children.
For his children. The ones that collect any money in 2015. Because that man in the dirt. That man have pushing daisies up. They're in the dirt. They ain't burying them with the money. Their descendants got that money.
Right.
Read.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
For what?
For the iniquity of their fathers.
When you look that word iniquity, for their sins. I know the oppressor, he don't look at it as being a sin. He look at it as being business. So he look at it. That's why he talked about Egypt. He talked about Greece. He didn't say what the Greek and the English and the Greece did was wrong. And they should have never done that. And black people was not given justice. I understand. He's not saying that.
Right.
Right, read on.
That they do not rise.
That they what?
That they do not rise.
Because people like this in leadership, the Bible says when the wicked is in rulership, the people are going to mourn.
Right.
And black people, Hispanics, and First Nation people are mourning right now because of their rulership. And other nations. But the other nations, they have a voice. People crying out for them in the UN. Nobody crying out for us. Nobody's saying, you know what? These people were not given justice. What are we going to do? We need to sit down here and we need to figure out how we're going to get justice for them. You have the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. Ain't nobody trying to sit down and come up with how black people, Hispanic, and First Nation people going to get justice. None. So the Lord is saying, you can't allow these people to rise. That is like allowing, lions to just roam the streets. What think gonna happen? We gotta stay inside the house.
Gun.
You understand? You gotta come out, with the mindset, I'm going to have to unalive this lion. You understand? Right, read on.
Gun, sir. Nor possess the land.
Nor possess it. You can't allow these people to possess land.
Right.
Because that ain't gonna be enough for them. They say the sun couldn't set on the English Empire. Because owning England was not enough. Yeah, owning England was enough. They had to own Trinidad, they had to own Jamaica, they had to own Barbados, they had to own Grenada, they had to own America. That wasn't enough. They had roots all over this earth. Read on.
And Salakia, sir, if I may, even today, where them claim Jamaica is independent, but you still have, so much of Jamaica that them call crown land. You understand that still belongs to them. So apparently not.
Yeah.
You understand? Salakia.
And I would not be shocked to they own that ocean that you are going to drill for oil soon. I wouldn't be shocked if they own some of that ocean too. And you all have to pay the crown a percentage. I wouldn't be shocked. And I wouldn't be shocked. That is what's stopping it from going forward. How much has to go to the crown? Because you own the island, who own the water around you?
Right.
Yeah, come on.
Nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Lord saying he's not going to have it. Why? Because these children are just like their forefathers.
Right.
They're the same. They are the same. You understand? They believe in evolution. That's Darwin.
Yeah,
That
Darwin theory.
that Darwin what?
Darwin theory, sir.
Yeah, Darwin theory,
The
right?
survival of the fittest and them thing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of,
Well, slavery has evolved.
mhm.
It has evolved into money. That paper, that tree bark, that's what it evolved into. So now you're a slave to that tree bark.
Right.
So now your whole entire island, people have to work just to make what? £1 a day. All right. Any more?
Kind of one cancer.
Read on.
Verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant and the son and nephew, saith the Lord.
You understand? The Lord is speaking about giving the Israelite justice.
Right.
Because that's what we've been waiting on. You know what I mean? If I was to talk to your black leaders, you know what I mean, your Prime Minister of Barbados, I'll tell them don't beg for nothing. If you had to beg somebody, beg the Lord.
Right.
Don't beg these people. Because then they're gonna start talking down on you and making you feel like you're nobody. You understand? Now they're talking down and saying, you know what I mean, you trying to hustle. You trying to, you know what I mean, making you look like you some, you know what I mean, some drug dealer.
Come
Or
on,
some
thief.
Yeah, or some panhandler on the corner. Like
Yeah.
you the prime minister and you on the corner in London, you know, with some pan out begging for reparation.
Okay.
Beg the Lord for justice.
Right.
Don't beg for money. Beg the Lord for justice. Cry out to the Lord. You understand? All we have to do is do what the Lord say to do and cry on to him.
Right.
Just like the people in the Bible. The brothers that was and sisters that was in Egypt, they cried unto the Lord. And the Lord sent Moses. You understand? And delivered them. And they didn't have to lift one finger. They didn't have to beg Pharaoh. Moses went and asked him for 3 days, and that bastard tell him no. You have too much time on your hand. You know, sweat. Be hustling. We hustling here. Well, the Lord say, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. So you will pay for the sins of your father. You're going to pay for it. You play a little more.
We cannot hold those societies today responsible for what happened before, what their ancestors did. And the very idea that you could even try this on indicates that there's something horrible that's going on culturally, because the reason why they're doing it and the reason why they feel so kind of confident that they can get away with this is because they know that many Western nations, Britain included, have internalized this sense of guilt and sense of shame for no reason other than the fact that that's the only narrative that they heard. I think British people, the British elites in particular, have got to stop feeling ashamed and feel guilty for anything that might have happened a long time before they were born. You know, the old biblical story about the sins of the father is just as relevant in the 21st century as
these bastards, these type of bastards, you have to ask them, and don't let up on it. How was England created? What made England England? What made Great Britain Great Britain? Where did all the money come from to make Great Britain a superpower on the earth at this time? And still today, you understand? They look to England. Look at Jamaica and And Vibes Cartel came out because of that whole Privy Council,
Gun on gun, sir.
right? Although they didn't make the call, right? The country had to make the call, but still, Jamaica what? Listen to what the Privy Council said about the whole case,
Gun on gun.
right? They listened to it, right? You could make an appeal. I think it's 2 appeals you can make in the country, and then that last one they give you could go all the way up, which is to the Privy Council, which is to England.
Gun on gun.
So all of that, where all of that came from? You know what I mean? Did somebody wave the magic wand and England just appear? No. I think all of that is slave money, Mr. Frank. I think slave money built England. I think slave money built America. I think slave money built Europe.
Right.
Places like Spain, France. You understand? These rich or so-called rich European nations, slave money built them.
Gun on
Right?
gun. And Salakia, sir, if you
Come on.
notice what he said to that, you know what I mean, the reason why we are allowed to be asking for reparation is because them or for them leaders feel some sense of guilt. You know what I mean? But because we must say because that is the only narrative that they learn, as if there is any other kind of narrative out there other than for them feel guilt. And he must say, well, a time will come when they will no longer feel guilt. Then when them stop feel guilt, when them going to start feel what, anger? They going to start, you know what I mean? He must say, as if it's a threat. You know what I mean? And they are come when them are going to stop feel guilt. So what we're going to start do now? We're going to start oppress way because we are asked reparations. You know what I mean? Turn them anger upon way. You know what I mean? Like what Pharaoh did when you know what I mean, Moses came to him and said, we need to serve our God for 3 days. More turn him anger upon us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
No, you're right. You're exactly right. I mean, and they know their people. They know if England only pay that 19 trillion, oh, their people, it gonna be riots in the streets.
Gun on gun.
I mean, they're gonna be insurrections in the street. Why? Because now they're gonna be what? They're gonna look as if they're gonna be what? Getting what? Poor.
Gun on gun.
And one thing these oppressors do not want to feel is to feel less than you. Or to feel like you and them on par. You know, that's a recipe for, you know what I mean, for insurrection in your country. And they know it. You know what I mean? Go to Revelation.
Gun on gun.
Go to Revelation 13. No, give me the one in Matthews where it talk about can Satan cast out Satan.
Gun on gun. So look, gun on gun. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 26. And it says, and if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself.
And that's them. You can't expect them to make things right. Because that's going to do what? Read on.
Gun on gun. Oh, shall then his kingdom stand?
How is his kingdom going to stand? They now go pay that money, their kingdom is going to fall. And they know it. If they have to, if they really have to pay, because it ain't gonna just stop with the Caribbean. It's gonna go all the way to Africa.
Yep.
On these, you know what I mean, these other islands. They're gonna have to pay up. You understand? And they're not willing to do that. That is going to separate them. You know what I mean? Because those you know what I mean, those oppressors gonna think you don't need that money. We need that more than you, and we're not paying you nothing. All right,
And so,
come on.
sir, maybe that is why this oppressor is coming out so bluntly with it, because when them see the domino effect where it go cause, if them pay the Caribbean, them have to pay Africa, then them have to pay India. You understand? There's no more Britain, you know what I mean? Them basically look on the destruction of them kingdom. You understand? So basically what he's doing still is he's just reflecting what most of these oppressors are thinking, you know what I mean?
Yes.
With many of these talk show hosts, what they are really the vice of them people, So what him do is just reflect back the opinion, he will take all the blame where the leaders, them of the oppressors can't say. You know what I mean? But that's what they're thinking. Because them don't say eventually this would have be the end of them wealth. You understand?
Yeah.
So,
now you're right. And now let's look at this video that is a contrast. Right? Now remember, slavery was for how many years?
For 400 years.
About, and we counting. For 400 years. We have not received any penny, any reparations. We have not received any justice for it. Right? Which lets you know to the earth, slavery was just economics. Slavery was just business. That's why the slave owners was given reparation. Why? Because we were considered property. Right? We were considered cattle. Right? We were no different than the cattle pulling the what you call it again? The plow.
Okay.
You understand? We're no different. Right? The cattle on us, same thing. Right? Just as you would sell a cattle back then, it's just like how you would sell a black person back then, a slave back then. Same exact thing. Right? If a slave owner lost a cattle because of negligence from some other slave owner that he rented his cattle from, he would pay compensation. Just like if a black man that was rented out to another plantation, if he was to, you know what I mean, lose his life or, you know, something happen, he will have to pay that slave owner compensation. It's just business. All right? And to show you, it was in their laws. Politics had to take place. And anytime politics have to take place, right, it means you are getting an illusion. Remember, politics didn't take place for America to be separated from England. Oh no.
That took a revolution.
Yes. That's what I call it. A revolution. When you do it, when you try to do it, it's called a rebellion. You understand? When they do it, it's a revolution. Right? And they got America. All right. Now let's play this here. Just to give you, you know what I mean. I'll let the video speak for itself. Right? This one ain't too long. All right, you can see this one, right? Now this one is Germany to pay reparation to Jewish survivors in 2024. All right. Let's see. Let's go. I tend to say the audio. So let me stop sharing it. All right, and then I'll share it again. All right, let's play this.
survivors all over the world. This payment is scheduled to be made in 2024. Since 1952, the German authorities have been paying a form of reparation to Jews who survived the horrors of the Holocaust. So far, the government has paid more than $90 billion to these individuals for the suffering that they have undergone at the hands of the Nazis. Now, according to reports, every year from 2024 to 2027, the German Finance Ministry has set an amount to be paid out per survivor. The payments stand as follows. For 2024, every survivor will get paid over $1,300 US. For 2025, this amount is marginally increased to $1,425. In 2026, the reparation stands at $1,480. And lastly, in 2027, every survivor gets paid a little over $1,500. The survivors who receive this aid are mostly Russian Jews. They reportedly were not in the horrifying camps or ghettos like the other European Jews. However, the Russian Jews have survived what is referred to as Nazi mobile killing units, in which more than 1 million Jews lost their lives.
So Salakia, and you know,
Go ahead.
Salakia, sir, and they didn't go through slavery. They just went through a couple of years of whatever they call that. You know what I mean? And here you have them being paid for it. You understand, Salakia?
Yeah, they get reparations. Right? They get justice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could be.
Go ahead, sir. Salakia, sir.
I was going to say you could be a you know what I mean, a chef. You know what I mean? And cooking food for them Nazis, and they're going to look for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to put an oxygen tank on your nose, drag you in court, and they are going to put you in jail. You understand? For being an accomplice. You cook food for Hitler, oh, you're going to jail. You are going to jail for the rest of your life. Because they know what justice is. But they're people. When it comes to us, we hustling. They're not hustling. That really happened to them. They're not hustling. But black people, First Nation, and Hispanic, we hustling. All right. Anything you want to leave them with?
And Salakia, sir, not to mention America still pay them reparation as well to this day. America fork out billions of dollars yearly to Israel, you know what I mean? So, or to fake Israel, you know what I mean? So, they might get reparations from all angles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And getting the reparation using our identity, pretending to be us, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, we are treated like, you know what I mean, common slaves, you know what I mean, and property, you understand?
Yeah. We treated like addicts, you know what I mean? We treated like you know what I mean, like criminals, like we the criminal. For asking for justice, for asking for what is ours, what is owed to us. You know what I mean? We the criminals. I mean, let's leave them with this. Let's go to Revelation 13:9. And we go end it on this.
Go
ahead.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13 and verse 9. And it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10.
Meaning, if you could understand what King One is about to read, listen good. You know what I mean? Was the Prime Minister of Barbados name again? I forget her name.
It's like her name is slipping now.
No, while you go ahead and read it. I'm gonna look it up here quick. You know what I mean? Very, very educated woman. You know what I mean? And the Prime Minister, was the Prime Minister of what do you call it again? Of what do you call it? Yeah, of Jamaica. Who's the Prime Minister of Jamaica?
Andrew Holness.
Yeah, you all should listen to this good. I mean,
Can one can.
oh, let me get her name here quick. Maya Motley. Maya Motley. You know what I mean? Listen good. Listen real good. You know what I mean?
Can one,
The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. What's his name again, boy? Forget his name. But listen good. Read.
can one can. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 13 and verse 9. And it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that
what?
killeth, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
You said ask yourself, who led who into captivity? The
Right.
Lord is not going to have you beg for money. I think we should get that as one of the last scripture too. Right? I'm gonna find it there, right?
Can one
Right?
can.
Read on.
Can one can. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Right? And that's the Lord telling you. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you lead somebody to captivity, if you unalive somebody with a sword, you know what I mean? This is going to come back on you. And that's what the Bible calls justice. Right? Read on.
Can. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Right? Here's the patience, meaning Black man, Hispanic, and First Nation, just be patient. Whatever the Lord says is going to happen in the Bible, when He prophesy, it's going to happen. We just need to have patience. We just need to hold up our end of the bargain. The Lord He gonna hold up His own. He waiting for us to hold up our end of the bargain. Right? Let's finish with Ecclesiasticus 40 and 28. I mean, you want to beg the Lord for justice. Remember that. You understand? You beg the Lord for justice. Don't beg no man. Don't beg these other nations to love you. Don't. It will never happen. And you look weak doing it. Look weak. America didn't beg England. No.
Salakia. Verse 28, 40 and 28.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I say my son.
There's Ecclesiasticus 40 and 28.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And don't get me wrong.
Can.
I'm not telling us to go pick up guns and go fight to free yourself.
Right.
No, I'm telling you, beg the Lord so He could send Christ back so you could get freedom. So Christ could go fight for you with them 200 million angels.
That's right.
Read.
Can. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, verse 40 and 28, and it said, my son, lead not a beggar's life.
Mm-hmm. That's
for
the Lord
better
telling you.
it is. Can.
Mm-hmm.
Can. For better it is to die than to beg.
Die before you beg the suppressor for reparation. Die before you do it. You're going to beg these oppressors for what? Beg them for what? They're not going to give you it. And so what if they give it? You telling me you're going to choose money over justice? Then it's going to repeat itself. He going to give you the money that he printed with his face on it, that you're going to give it right back to him?
Can.
Don't get me wrong. England have the money to give you. America have the money to give you. But it's the principle.
Kind of gun.
They're going to give you what? They're going to look weak. And their people know it. Stop begging. Stop begging. Beg the Lord. You're begging the wrong people.
Right.
Begging the wrong set of people. Beg the Lord. All right. Any more on that?
And just to add to that, sir, you know what I mean? We begging this oppressor, you know what I mean? Is like you saying that what $19 trillion can pay for the death and torture of your 4 parents. You know what I mean? Like what Cap said, that you know get justice yet. You understand? And like what the Bible says as well, a gift destroy the heart. So you get your $19 trillion or your billions of dollars, and why you're good now? No, you love the oppressor, now you're going back to being a perfectly good slave. No, that can't be the case. You know what I mean? The crimes, them still did it. You know what I mean? And money can't pay for crimes. You understand? So that
Yeah. So we gonna have to wake up. I mean, and with leadership, boy, they need a priest in the corner real bad. You know what I mean? Andrew Holness need a priest in his corner. You know what I mean? He better, you know what I mean, give Abada one on this, you know what I mean, give you all a call. You know what I mean? To get some help. You know what I mean? Maya Muttley, you know what I mean? You better call the Israelite School English of Practical Knowledge and get some insight, some foresight on what's to come. You understand? All right? Anything else? Or we good to go?
We're good to go, sir. And with
All
that,
right, man.
You know what I mean? This is the Breakdown Podcast where we break down the stronghold that's all about the children of Israel here in the Caribbean, North, Central, and South America. And with that, shalom.
All right, shalom.